I like ZZZ's combat. I just want more of it. And if you're like me and you enjoy the combat of aspects of ZZZ, but maybe you don't care either A, about the story itself or just HoYo in general, because the story beats are, let's be honest here, very similar, or B, you just want more games like it with either a wider roster of characters or different varying designs, I'm gonna go over a few gachas that I think are kind of worth playing just for the combat aspect alone, but I will be mentioning things like, hey, how's the characterization? What's the story like? What is the music like? Because surprisingly, ZZZ for me at least has the least memorable HoYo track. I don't know why. Compared to the rest of their games though, this is like just okay. With that being said, I will say that overall, in terms of the presentation, the quality, the accessibility, whether you're on PlayStation, PC, mobile, whatever, HoYo does still hold that title because I do think it is the highest budget out of the games I'm going to be mentioning, but maybe not the best. Did you know that 92% of you aren't subscribed? Hit that subscribe button. With that being said, this is Punishing Grey Raven, and I honestly enjoy this game quite a lot. I think the idle animations and lobby are still one of the best. If you've seen the shorts, you've seen the shorts. I quite like this one. This character is 21. I do want to wholeheartedly state, if looking for the story, the first couple chapters aren't exactly the best. Now, I do believe that it does get better later on. I think that you have to get through a lot, though, to get to that point. Chapters 7, 8, I think, is where the story at least starts to uptick. But before that, you're kind of just dealing with, in my opinion, a very subpar story, but really good combat. I would say that this game has better combat, or at least more involved combat than, but hey, that's entirely subjective. I know you can be more of a story-focused individual. I do think the voice acting in this game is quite fine. Don't get me wrong, there are some voices I just don't like, but that's with everybody. Plot is, well, it tries. And as a result of that, I do think that, yeah, hey, maybe if you're looking for the story and looking for the characters, you may want to focus on the affection stories first and foremost. And I think the interludes themselves do a better job than the first 8 chapters of the main story, at least of getting you involved and invested into the characters. And I know story can be a big focus for a lot of individuals. For me, I quite like story, and I do want it to be good. And I think this does get better later, but it's the problem of getting to that later point. The combat itself is ping-based. You actually have to kind of learn how mechanics work. And yes, obviously getting additional use of characters can work, and they are having a collab right now with Black Rock Shooter, so she is free, but I honestly can say that it may take a bit of getting used to. I think the game on PC and mobile is quite fine. I played both. If you're on PC, please, once you start combat, hit Y to change to alternate controls. It makes the experience better. But overall, I will say that this combat exceeds compared to DZ. I think the background music, the soundtrack is great. The animations, great. The style of characters, I actually quite like a lot. Skins, you can get some for free long term with weapon coatings and skin coatings or outfit coatings, but those do take a long time to get, so don't necessarily expect to earn those quickly. It's not as good as, I'd say, Arknights, for example, in that category, but this is the longer variation of something like WW. It has better combat than WW by the same developer, and I think maybe a better plot. I don't know. There's more plot to it. I don't necessarily know if that means better, but hey, that's just one. Next up, Aether Gazer. Yes, this one is so far mobile exclusive. They're coming out with the PC launcher eventually. So this is running on BlueStacks. Please keep that in mind when you're looking at the footage, because my god, is it going to be more grainy? I can count the pixels. I think Aether Gazer is hitting that solid middle ground of the characters, the relationship stories. First off, the entirety of the plot and the affection stories are fully voiced in JP and other languages. EN is kind of falling behind in that aspect, at least for relationship stories, but they're very good. Like, good enough to where I'd say they're relatively on par with something like Blue Archive. You do get cute little interaction. This is a skin, keep that in mind. But I personally like AG. I like it a lot. And I will say that if we're comparing it to something like PGR, the combat is far more simplistic, and I do think the animations lag behind. For instance, this is your lobby menu. If you're perhaps wondering, what about alternative scenes? That's it. That's the only one. They're adding a new one soon on October 15th, but that's, at least as of right now, it. The animations themselves are okay, but I don't think they're as good as PGR, and I do think that, I'd say, VA-wise, for me at least, probably my least favorite out of the 3 for English VAs. JP, I can't understand the language, so all of it sounds good. Now, this is something I touched on in PGR, but in AG, I really, really like the dorm system, because it's very pretty. Now, is there much of a point to it? No. But hey, you have to eat dinner with your modifiers, i.e. these characters, to increase your relationship rank past a certain point. So hey, I mean, you should probably do that if you can. But it's good. It's cute. The chibis are nice. In terms of things like relationship stories, for those of you who are interested, maybe you're a Blue Archive player or not, they are called Heartlink, and only some characters have them. They give you really cute art, and the stories themselves are very nice, but as you see here, not everybody has them. And so Okuni has one. I want to eventually get that one, but I only have this one right now. And so you will probably unlock these ones earlier and have to eventually pull for the ones you don't. If you're going through the menu and Heartlink events, Leviathan, she has one. It's pretty cute. The art, very nice. Zenkai has one. Once again, adorable. I quite like this. But I will be saying that most characters, or at least out of the characters you will see in this instance, do have 2 variations. Now, the friendship is shared between them, but once you get the friendship or affinity 5, that's only shared with 1. It doesn't matter because the heart link is the same for both, but hey, that's something to consider. And there are some expansive ones. I've gone for Kagutsuchi's. I quite like him. So I will say these are nice, but I won't say these are perfect simply because some characters just don't have them. And if you do want some of these ones, you're gonna have to pull for new characters, and that can be kind of iffy. I like Rahu quite a lot. Guess what? She doesn't have one. And so that is always going to be a downside. I think you get a lot of stamina, but your gameplay loop is relatively simple. Events last quite a long time. Gacha-wise, as a note, there is a 100% guaranteed banner for 90 pulls, and there are non-guaranteed banners for a lower pity count, your standard banner, and your weapon banner. Contrary to PGR, where there's always an 80% chance, but a 100% rate up for the debut banner for characters, alongside the weapon banner, alongside the cub banner. This one, in my opinion at least, is a lighter gacha system because the weapon banner is always guaranteed. You get a functor and you can just slide it onto any character. So for instance, if you're getting a Shikigami functor, you can just immediately begin to say, hey, okay, who do I want this for? And it tells you who actively this would apply towards. And so weapons, in my opinion, are very easy. Dupes are pretty light. And so I will say gacha-wise, in my opinion, this has a better system than both PGR and Genshin, or at least DCC, because they're kind of the same thing, for Hoyo games at least. I just think this game desperately needs a PC launcher. I think your gameplay loop with this one is very simplistic. I don't think there's a lot to do once you run out of stamina. You will get a lot of stamina. For instance, this is your daily sign-in bonuses. You will get swigs, i.e. your stamina, 30, so 60 in a day, just at different time intervals. I do like AG, but I think the community is very small, and I do think the game itself does need a PC launcher desperately, and I hope that with that comes the ability to sweep. There is no ability to sweep. PGR has sweeping. ZZZ, under technicality for HIA Outpost, has more sweep-based mechanics. But hey, that's just me. Now you may be wondering why I've already mentioned things like WW, and that's strictly because I think WW is well known enough. Hey, if you like ZZZ's combat, go play WW. You already know that. Is the plot in WW good? No. But it is a funny game. And so those are 2 underrated gachas I think you should play. Either way, that's enough out of me.